As we encourage democracy and we see voting in the elections as a very pivotal matter on how the nation will work, we can see that all of the citizens in democratic rule have the right to vote. But what we are doing as a government is that we want to give more chances for a well-informed individual regarding the politics to have more votes in the elections under the reason that I'm going to elaborate in my point of substantive. We want to have more legitimate votes in the elections, and we want to utilize the current affair test as a standard of individual to have more voting rights. We define current affair test as a test given by the government before the election to test the citizens' political awareness. The tests include political issues, democratic issues, and the current issues on the nations. These tests will be matter in every elections, whether the legislative elections or the national election. The model that we're going to apply in this proposal is that first, government will do the campaign and socialization regarding the current affair test. Second, current affair tests will be held before the elections, and the transparency regarding the result will also be a matter that the government is trying to control. Third, anyone will be allowed to take the test as they can see that they have fulfilled the criteria, and last, they will be categorized based on the result, such as first, they will not be allowed to have right to vote, second, they will only have one right to vote, and last, they will have two rights to vote. But we are not talking about the exact number of a standard of good performance in the current affair test. As a government, we are going to deliver 2 points of substantive. That is, first, right to vote is a fundamental right that individuals should maximize, and second, that this proposal will lead to a better democratic nations. Proceed to the first point of substantive, that right to vote is a fundamental right that individuals should maximize. How we see voting in the elections. In democracy, all people have the right to vote. They have the right to voice out their opinion regarding their nations. And in this term, they have the right to choose who their leader will be. And as we are being led by the politicians and the government have the access to make policies, we as individuals should have vote for the best candidate and the most eligible one to be elected. This is why we have to maximize our rights to vote. And what happened in the current status quo is that many citizens neglect their rights to vote on how they don't want to participate in the national elections. And even if they want to participate in the national election, we think that majority of them still do not have the political awareness that we define as their ability to actively consume various media with political issue, so that they will have more knowledge regarding the nation's issue and how we want people to have engagement in the elections and not only participating in it. We can see that when we implement this proposal, we might limit the rights of some individual to vote. But as a government, we believe that it is okay, as our proposal is encouraging more and more people to realize the importance of political issue and why their votes will be worthy. The worst scenario of our proposal is that people might be more irresponsible and have lesser interest to participate in the election, as they have to take the current affair test as a prerequisite before voting. We think that our proposal will still better, since people have no intentions in the nation's issues, will not use their voting rights and create unjustified votes on how it will lead to the vote based on personal interest and create unjustified and there are even those who vote for the party who offers them a free drink on the election's eve. And such votes are irresponsible and contribute to the selections of unworthy candidates, ladies and gentlemen. And for those who have better understanding of the political issue, we believe that it is okay to give them more voting rights, since they have more capability to decide who is the best candidate to run the nations. Therefore, we believe that voting as a legitimate right of individual is justified to be limited by the government. Allow me to proceed to the second point of substantive, that this proposal will lead to a better democratic nations. The importance of voting in the elections is that it will determine who the elected candidates will be. But as people have lesser incentive to have political awareness and engagement towards the politics, more and more unqualified individuals are elected. And what happens is that this automatically hampers how the nation will work, such as corruption cases and incapability of the leader to lead the nations, and etc. Before the election, we said that there comes a time for the politicians to have campaign. And during the campaign, many of the politicians maximize the chance to attract the citizen votes. And what happened is that many politicians employ political campaign strategies to do the marketing or designing the advertisement. They also use the opinion leaders, such as public figure, as a magnet to society who has less knowledge about the politics itself. Those campaign strategies work in a world where people have less knowledge about the politics. And also for the politicians who promise empty promises, they will also get more votes. But in our proposal, the moment current affair test as a prerequisite for the people to vote, it will be a good strategy to have more capable politicians to be elected. Individuals should pass a test before voting in the election, and when they pass it, it means that they have more knowledge about the nation's issue, and they will have the rational calculations of whom to be chosen, rational calculation of whom to be chosen as the leader of their nation. Because ever since these individuals have gotten the symmetrical information before they pass the test. We believe that this is the most strategic way to create a better democratic nation ever since when we see that the problem is very systematic, and giving the knowledge about the politics or use the media as a source for people to access the informations are no longer work, since there is a less symmetrical information in the media, like we are living in the echo chamber where conservative are only consuming conservative medias, and for liberal they only consume media which support their ideology. Therefore, we want people to have current affair tests to evaluate their awareness about the nation's issue, where they will actively consume various media issues about politics, economy, and etc. And in the end of the day, voters will not use their voting right to the unqualified individual, and a better democratic nation will be established in our proposal. How we believe that how is a better democratic nation that we want? First is that citizens are actively involved in how the nation will work. In how the nation will work. Second of all, citizens also have the capability to watch and evaluate the works of their government. And last, since they have political awareness to begin with, we think that those unqualified politicians who give empty promises during the campaign will no longer get the seats inside of the parliament. Therefore, we want to give more voting rights to the well-informed individual regarding the nation's issue in the parliament. So what we have proven to you is that first, right to vote is a fundamental right that individuals should maximize, and it is okay for the government to limit those rights. And second, how our proposal will actually bring a nation to a better democratic nation. For all this reason, we beg to propose. Thank you.